Welcome to this bonus episode of Living Wow Out Loud. This initial bonus series is going to be um, a reading of the book, 8 Lessons Lupus Taught Me from Surviving to Thriving with Autoimmune Disease. I've chosen to include this as a bonus because it really is the foundation that led to Change Your Story. It then led to the website Rise to Shine, and eventually morphed into Living Wow as we know it today. And so, in order for those of you who may not be readers or have chosen the podcast platform, I want you to also have access to the book. And because I have all the rights to all my material, I'm able to upload it here for you as a bonus episode. So I'm going to break it into chapters to make it more digestible. And you will see, I will label all of these as bonus episodes, 8 Lessons Lupus Taught Me from Surviving to Thriving with Autoimmune Diseases, and then the chapter. So enjoy. I hope you get something of value out of these bonus episodes. Lesson number 4. Health is number one. I realize after being on the autoimmune roller coaster that health is number one. Everybody has different priorities, and I think for most people, and certainly I was one of those people, health was farther down the priority list. It may be number 3 or number 5. It follows making money to support your family. It certainly is secondary to your family. It may be secondary to your faith or God. It may be secondary to desires like food, leisure activities, and vacation. There's nothing wrong with any of those things, and we all know that we have many priorities, interests, and desires. I believe that we are spiritual beings having an earthly experience. The reason we are here on earth is to be able to have experiences that we wouldn't be able to have as a spirit. We must have our physical bodies in order to do those things. You must have your health to do those things. If you don't, then you can't fully experience those other things in the way you likely are intending to. When you board a commercial airline, prior to your departure, you get the safety announcement. The airline attendant tells you how, in the event of an emergency, the oxygen mask will drop from above, and that you must put the oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on those minor children or dependent individuals who are traveling with you. You have to put your own oxygen on first. They also tell you that you may not see the bag inflate, but the oxygen is flowing. This analogy rings true with the reprioritization of health that I was given with autoimmune challenges. If my oxygen isn't flowing, if I've not put on my own oxygen and I come into a crisis, I can't function. Life is a roller coaster. Life is an adventure. Life is a journey. We know that there are going to be unanticipated events, whether they are exciting, life-changing events like birth and death and weddings and vacations, or just routine things like change of seasons, aging, and work. These things all require your health. I know the pushback. I'm familiar with the excuses and rationale. I had the same thoughts in the past. I don't have time. It's too expensive. My kids come first. My husband doesn't get it. I hear these comments all the time from people who have witnessed my transformation or need help reprioritizing in their own life. All I can say is that I've been there and that none of those perceptions are accurate. They are inaccurate perceptions. I'd like to address them by sharing my personal experience of each statement. I don't have time. We all have the exact same amount of time in a day: 24 hours, 1,440 minutes, 86,400 seconds. It is not how much time you have, it is how you choose to use it. If you want to see where your true priorities lie, not your intention or lip service, look at your calendar. Appointments on your calendar are your true priorities because that is where you spend your time. Do you have a meal time on your calendar, or do you squeeze it in or skip it? How about exercise, sleep, relaxation, entertainment, and socialization? They all impact your health or lack thereof. I will be honest with you and tell you that I chronically struggle with one more thing and I can do that behaviors. I have had to consciously calendar the most important things into my schedule, my big rocks, so that they are the foundation of my year, month, week, and day. If I don't put that structure into my calendar, I will fall back into the time suck of the moment. I will go into this more in lesson 5, but for now, suffice it to say that I no longer use "I don't have time" as an excuse to not take care of myself. It's too expensive. Again, if you want to know your financial priorities, look at your bank statement. Where do you spend your money? The perception that nutritious food is expensive is absolutely false. It does not cost more to make a meal from whole ingredients than it does processed ingredients. Prepackaged convenience frozen foods in the long run will always cost more than whole foods. There are a couple of reasons for this. First, you eat less whole foods. I can sit down and eat an entire bag of potato chips without batting an eye, especially if I'm watching a show. Have you ever tried to sit down and eat 4 pounds of baked potatoes? What's the difference? The difference is the processing. You lose the nutrients and the bulk from the whole potato, which nourish and satiate and replace it with fat and salt, which sabotage digestion and addict the brain with metabolic programming. Remember, you crave what you eat. Not only do you eat more of it, but your body has not been fed recognizable nutrients to use, and so you're hungry again as your body searches for fuel. Second, whole foods cost less, especially plant-based whole foods. Again, going back to my potato analogy, today an average price of Lay's potato chip, my personal favorite, is 54.8 cents per ounce at Walmart. You can buy a 10-pound bag of russet potatoes at that same Walmart for $1.94. Along the same lines, I have never seen any produce that runs from $4.99 on average to $14.99 per pound. However, these are the prices that we pay every day for meat and dairy. This is especially the case with local and seasonal produce, but holds up even with organic and specialty produce. I know these two facts to be true because I saw the change in my monthly grocery bill when we switched from a standard American diet to a whole food plant-based diet. When I use the term diet, I'm not speaking of the latest fad or weight loss program. I'm referring to the foods you routinely eat for sustenance. I changed my menu planning in 2 ways that reflected in my diet. First, I actually was intentional about what I ate, so we had menus in addition to meal times. The focus for the menu planning became around what was seasonal in my garden, the farmer's market, or the produce section of the grocery store. Meat and dairy are not in every meal, and they are not ever the focus of the meal. The standard in our house is getting it as close to the source as possible. If it comes out of a factory instead of a field, it's not likely to make the cut. When you eat whole foods, you find you have fewer cravings. I still remember when I walked through my local Albertsons after work one day and had no problem getting the item I needed and checking out. This previously would have been a craving battle not to buy everything that jumped out at me and eat it while I was preparing dinner with the item I went in to get. I don't ever have that struggle now. I go in knowing exactly what I need and have no pull to the impulse items laid strategically along my path all the way in and all the way out of the store to increase my grocery bill. Our grocery bill was quickly cut in half when we changed our family's diet. Yes, I said family's diet because as a mother, I set the example. I buy it and I cook it so they eat it. By putting my oxygen on first, by making my health number one priority, I am now helping them reset their metabolic programming and cravings and ultimately health priorities as well. What they choose to eat outside of my house is up to them, but at least at home they are nourished, not just fed, and they now can feel the difference. That is just the grocery cost side of things. It doesn't take an accountant to realize the cost savings of minimizing your healthcare costs. Our costs have plummeted here as well. My kids come first. Maybe I addressed this in the previous paragraph. By taking care of yourself, you are taking care of your kids. The reality is that if you do not take care of yourself, you may not be there for your kids. I am a completely different mother now than I was before I revised my priorities. Yes, initially I felt selfish taking time for myself, and certainly the whining about changing our diets was painful at first. It is so worth it now. My youngest daughter has no recollection of my sick days. She will never know her mother as not being able to get out of bed and having to care for her. Fortunately, she was young enough when I changed my lifestyle that going for bike rides, 5-mile walks, and daily yoga are normal. That is not the mom that the older kids had. So while I may take more selfish me time than I used to, the quality of the time and amount of time I have for my family is drastically different. And I think they would each tell you it's worth it. Additionally, the healthcare experience and cost comparisons between my children are staggering. Both of my older children had serious seasonal allergies that shut them down for 6 to 8 weeks each spring. My oldest daughter was on prophylactic antibiotics from age 2 months to 8 years. My son was on daily nebulizer treatments from age 2 to 5 years. My youngest daughter has never been to the doctor except for well child checkups. She has never taken an antibiotic and rarely takes a pain reliever or allergy medication. Our medicine cabinet, which used to have all of the usual stomach remedies, pain relievers, allergy medications, and prescription medications, is unrecognizable. The cabinet now has band aids, coconut oil, essential oils, and Tylenol. I didn't even recognize the change until my husband had his knee replacement surgery in 2014. As I stood there waiting for the pharmacist to fill the prescriptions from his discharge, I was in awe as I wandered the aisles. I hadn't been in a pharmacy for so many years. It was so foreign and exciting that we hadn't been shopping these aisles. Based on my experience, cost is the poorest excuse in the book. It just doesn't hold up. I have cut our grocery costs and our healthcare costs substantially by making health number one. No matter how you slice it, a pound of prevention is cheaper than an ounce of cure. By putting my health as number one, my kids and grandkids have a much different experience. I am able to participate in activities that I used to watch. I am more energetic and generally happier because I am not in chronic pain. I'll tell you that pain and fatigue can make the happiest person miserable and irritable. I am sure it was not fun being my child during that time. It wasn't fun being me. I'm still a work in progress, but at least I'm making progress as I've painfully learned these lessons. My husband doesn't get it. I'm lucky. My husband has always been my number one fan and will trust my judgment in whatever crazy idea I have. Don't think that means we always agree or that we're on the same page. We rarely are. However, it does mean that he will let me do what I want. And like the kids, he sees the benefits and eventually, pretty quickly in this case, jumps in wholeheartedly. I will take a minute here to brag on my husband. He has not only supported me in my lifestyle choices, but decided to come along with me. He added Juice Plus to his diet and noticed improved energy and very few colds. He has lived with chronic pain from a knee injury he experienced while serving in the U.S. Army. In 2014, due to the ongoing bone on bone degeneration, pain, and impact on his hip, back, and ankles, it was determined that he would be a candidate for a total knee replacement at age 45. He doubled up on his Juice Plus a month prior to surgery and during his recovery. His recovery was remarkable, being able to go back to martial arts training in 2.5 months. 4 months later, he was hiking the Red Rocks of Sedona, Arizona during a week's vacation with friends. He is now 3 years post surgery and more active at 48 than he was at 38. He too has learned that health is number one priority. Sometimes our husbands, children, even extended family don't have to get it. They just have to allow you to get it. Remember, it's your choice, and you will have more influence than you know. The ripple effect of health priorities is so much lovelier than the whirlpool of pain and illness. My lifestyle is just that, mine. I am the one who has to make the choice. I am the one who has to deal with the consequences. I cannot change anyone else, nor do I need to. More on that in lesson 8. I realize as a wife and mother that I influence and have effect on my family, but ultimately my choice is mine and their choice is theirs. I am blessed. My family does get it. Though initially they were skeptical and there has been resistance here and there, they now see the value. The proof is in the quality of life. Ownership and personal accountability for our health is critical. As a healthcare provider and a previous chronic healthcare patient, I truly believe that the only way we will ever reverse the epidemics and healthcare system cost and breakdowns is by staying out of the system. We stay out of the system by taking responsibility for our choices and lifestyles. Our healthcare system is equipped to fix acute problems, such as broken bones and acute infections. It is not equipped to treat chronic disease. The primary reason is that most chronic diseases are the result of lifestyle choices. It is our culture to go to the doctor when we are sick and obtain a medication to treat the illness. We are not programmed to go to the doctor and ask what we should change in our lifestyle that may prevent us from getting the illness in the first place. We are reactive rather than proactive. Medications are prescribed, which create side effects, which create the need for further medications and increase the risks of interactions. Medication management is a huge priority for healthcare providers because of the inherent risk. Even though I am a speech language pathologist and do not prescribe or manage medications, I am required to ask my patients at every visit if they have had any changes in their medications and reconcile that with their medical record and contact the primary care physician if anything flags as high risk or interaction risk. My average patient has 14 medications. Every time they come back from a hospital stay, and oftentimes even an ER visit, the medications have been changed. It is a tangled web we weave. You know what happens when you get caught in a web? I am beginning to see a turning tide. More and more doctors are focusing on wellness and encouraging their patients to make lifestyle changes rather than just seeking medications. Unfortunately, it is not enough, and that is because it needs to start with us. It starts with me. If I make a choice to change my health priority, I in turn change my health story, which in turn changes my health history, which in turn changes my family's health history. If you choose to do the same thing, we start to see momentum in the community, which begins to change the culture of the community and the expectations as we go to our wellness providers, which many doctors would love to be, rather than our sick care providers, which many doctors are frustrated as. Making health priority number one, rather than expecting a magic pill, will go a long way in improving the dysfunction of our healthcare system. In the end, it's up to me, not a doctor, not a system, not an insurance company, what my health is. Reality is a bitter pill to swallow. This is why I say health is number one priority. Because if you are in a hospital, it doesn't matter who you need to see on the docket today. It doesn't matter what is in your inbox at work. It doesn't matter who is depending on you to be at a meeting. If you are incapacitated because of an injury or an illness and you don't have your health for that period of time, nothing else matters. You can't go to the games with your kids. You can't participate in the family event. You can't go on the vacation. You can't earn income. You can't fulfill your responsibilities and obligations if you don't have your health. That is why health became my number one priority. As my health took the focus that was required, it took a lot of focus and a lot of prioritization in the beginning to get my health back, to reclaim it. I should mention it still takes conscious, mindful choice making to sustain it. I must continue to make mindful choices about the food I put in my body and the exercise I use to maintain my strength and vitality. I must be mindful of the stress I'm putting myself into that is taxing my chemical production of cortisol and adrenaline, burning out my adrenal system. I must be mindful of the free radical damage and oxidative stress in my body, putting in the antioxidants to offset the damage that I may be doing just by living every day. I need to be realizing that, hey, I'm under more stress, or hey, I'm around a lot of sick people right now, or hey, I am not getting to bed on time. So I need more antioxidants. I need to change what's going in my mouth and increase my antioxidant intake. This is a lesson that lupus taught me. Health is number one. If your health is limiting your choices that you can make in your life, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how much time you have. It doesn't matter how many relationships you have. It matters that you can't participate in those relationships, in those activities that you've earned the money for or the time that you've taken. Really, you have a lot of time when you're sick because you can't do anything. Basically, you're just healing. You have to put your health as number one priority and not feel guilty. It is necessary and it is critical that you take time to take care of yourself and that you are aware of your health and making it priority number one so that you can use your body to experience all of the wonders you were created for. Hey, if you find value here on the Living Wow Out Loud podcast, will you please share it with your friends and take a minute to rate it on the platform that you're listening on? That's how we live wow out loud. You know that more people need hope and they need the messages shared. And that's how we get recognized among all the noise. This is where you find your voice. Will you please share and subscribe and rate so that we can grow? After my personal transformation from surviving to thriving with autoimmune diseases, I was completely astounded that the experience was not what I expected it to be. Instead of resenting my body and being forever trapped with a legacy of bad genes, as I had believed would be my fate, I looked and felt 20 years younger. I had dropped weight that had plagued me for decades, eliminated chronic pain that no doctor, therapy, or medicine could relieve, and found energy that I hadn't had since I was 16 years old. Because this is not what I expected, and because I wish someone would have told me that there is another way than SAD, I wrote the book, 8 Lessons Lupus Taught Me from Surviving to Thriving with Autoimmune Diseases. As I began to share the book and the message of change your story, Living Wow was born. After years of continuing to learn and study how and why lifestyle has such an impact on disease and the world being torn apart by a global pandemic, I can't stand by any longer keeping it to myself. You have to understand that the power is in your hands. The power is in your body. The power is in your lifestyle. The Living Wow Center is a holistic wellness practice that utilizes the framework of the Living Wow lifestyle to identify system failures or maintenance needs. Whether you just need a tune-up or a complete systems overhaul, we support you as an individual to get back out on the journey and living wow. We will work with you to determine levels of function, needs, tools, resources, and or providers that may be best equipped to guide you as you step out of the negative health cycle and turn it into a positive health cycle. The Living Wow Center offers a revolutionary, comprehensive approach to healing, coaching, and support that is necessary in our complex, sad world. Schedule your complimentary consultation today to see how Living Wow can support you. I'm super excited to announce Supercharge for you. We are changing the name of the Living Wow Challenge to more clearly represent the monthly support program where you take Living Wow for a 10-day spin. I know 10 days doesn't seem like much, but it is. And that's why it's now Supercharge. Living Wow Supercharge is a 10-day supported focus on eating a clean, nutritionally dense diet with intention as you jumpstart into the Living Wow lifestyle. You will feel lighter, more energetic, and empowered with your nutrition. You will experience the power of nutritional healing with less pain, more energy, and a better mood. The Supercharge includes a comprehensive 10-day seasonal menu, recipes, videos, quick start guides, and links to resources. You begin with a prep, then daily support, and wrap up with a review. This is the fastest, most immersive way to get started and feel the effects of Living Wow now. Right now, go to livingwowcenter.com. That's LIVINGWOWCENTER.com to sign up now for the next Supercharge running the 1st to the 10th of the month. Early sign up ensures you a spot and gives you time to complete your preparation assignments as you gear up to Supercharge. Wow, you just finished another episode of Living Wow Out Loud. I hope you leave today empowered to live your best life and thrive. If you're ready to jump in and learn a little bit more about Living Wow, come check out the Living Wow Center. That's LIVINGWOWCENTER.com. And maybe consider joining our next Living Wow Challenge. We run the 1st to the 10th of every single month. See you soon.